You may not realize this being as you're an outsider, but the blaring alarms indicate the station's on lockdown. Which means you can't ever get to me. So leave already.
Can't? We'll see about that. That's the last of them.
You out there, whoever you are, yes, I can see you. Come here and talk to me, face to intercom. I can't tell if you're brave or simply touched in the head. What in the galaxy are you doing sniffing around my station? Unless you are, in fact, trying to suicide by Marauder? And you, Nyoka, what are you doing lugging a stranger into my station?
You could use the socialization, you son of a bitch. Also, he hired me.
To what purpose? I happen to have some significant problems I am dealing with right now. Marauders, running out of purple berry wine 3 days ago, not being able to bloody broadcast. No. We'll deal with information-related business later. As I said, there are bigger problems threatening my life and livelihood at this very moment. The Marauders want me dead. And since my hired hands have clearly turned idle, it appears I need you to clear out the threat. As my newest contractor, you may call me the Broker.
Or we can call you Hiram, on account of that's your damn name, and doubly on the account of the Broker being a dumbass alternative.
What? Everyone calls me that, aside from you. You're here, and you're armed, aren't you? The feed's gone grainy, but it looks like you're packing deadly force. I know Nyoka is, for sure. I barricaded the broadcast center, but I can only hold out for so long. Clear the Marauders out, and I'll pay you double the going rate. They destroy the transmission equipment, and I'll be out of business. The elevator and doors to the second floor are back online. Hurry before I have to lock them down again. Too many, considering I hired a bunch of no-good mercs to keep them out in the first place. Already, they've caused considerable damage to the station's property. If they take down the broadcast equipment, I'll be out of a job, permanently. Aside from the bits I'll be paying you, you said you wanted something from me, something information-related. I'll give it to you, in person, once I'm safe. Hey, elevators to your right. Get ready.
That's the last of them, I think.
at last. I'll get the door. Do hurry on in.
Never thought I'd be ecstatic at having the walls painted in blood, but seeing as it's not mine, I'd say this calls for a celebration. My compliments on your improvised utilization of the fire suppressant system. I would expect nothing less from one of Nyoka's associates.
As usual, I'll take that as a compliment.
Of course. This ought to square our debt. One hefty payment for a highly valued service rendered. But, I admit, I do wonder why Nyoka has brought you to me. Allow me to pose my question in another manner. Why, in the nebula, are you here? If you insist. As I was telling you before, I am the premier broker for all of Monarch. Phineas must have sent you. He's the only one insane enough to send someone to Monarch to rush me. I knew it was only a matter of time before he came a-knocking. Look, I might be late, but I fulfill my contracts, always.
Oh, you do you? I have lost track of the number of beers you owe me for chasing raptidons off your stoop.
Are you fibbing? Be honest.
I take offense to that. Look, okay. It might take me a while this time. I am awaiting but a single incoming transmission containing the information we desire. But MSI and the Iconoclasts are clogging the airwaves from Stellar Bay and Amber Heights. In their war against each other, they're scrambling each other's outgoing transmissions. Luckily, however, MSI has now gone silent. You wouldn't know anything about that, would you? If you did, then you would have had my impressed gratitude. Still, we need to get the Iconoclasts off the airwaves. I will leave the means of that particular end under your discretion. The bandwidth! There's too much blasted background noise. Nothing gets through but their local broadcasts. Which of course has inadvertently affected the incoming port and my livelihood. Graham and his iconoclasts believe anarchy is the way of life. Sanjar opposes it, as he's taking strides to corporatize Stellar Bay. Amber Heights is one of the only surviving settlements outside of Stellar Bay. Graham Bryant and the iconoclasts there got their hands on a working relay station. Now they're ceaselessly transmitting philosophist ramblings on my airwaves. No, they're jamming the limited frequencies we have at our disposal. Nothing extraplanetary can get in or out until the frequency pollution thins out. The safest bet is to convince Graham and his iconoclasts to stop transmitting on their end. You do that, I'll be here, waiting on the receiving end. Luck be with you. I have a feeling you'll be needing a pinch of it, plus a vat of patience. Is that a trick question? Because to answer it, you'd need to pay me. Of course, I could offer you a vastly more interesting bit of data instead. Try me. Ask me anything you'd like. I'll even offer it for free. We'll call it an exchange for your help with the broadcasts. Ask me what you will. What? No. Why would I go out of my way to intercept messages from Earth? There's no market for them. No buyer means it's not worth my time. Now, if you wanted me to intercept a certain one, that might be worth it for the right price. Not much, admittedly. Phineas has been in hiding for the past 35 years. He got in touch with Nyoka first, who I use as a physical go-between. The rest is history. As far as what's between us, I mean. Outside of that, well, that's a raptidon of another color. I do know this much. There is a sharper side to the good scientist than you'd expect. If allegations are to be believed, the experiments he conducts for the greater good are in fact treasonous and for self-gain. I am not convinced as to the validity of these allegations, considering the source, but I am also not unconvinced either. Luckily for you, I am a veritable font of information. They are a curious lot. Insufferable. And short-sighted, too. What else do you wish to know? You mean between MSI, the Iconoclasts, and myself? I bet neither of those megalomaniacs told you I was the true mastermind behind Monarch. Back when the colony was still Terra 1 and corporations were abandoning us left and right, I'm the one who approached Sanjar and Graham with the means to our salvation. I offered them a legal way to take control of the planet. If MSI were the only corporation here, they could claim sole ownership. Precisely. Without me, they never would have done more than play Revolution in hushed whispers over scuzzy kale ales in the tavern. Thus, the bargain was struck. They could run MSI while I would operate Devil's Peak Station. Unfortunately, relations have soured over time. Competing ideologies. Graham believes Sanjar has become corrupted by the corporate lifestyle, that he is now similar to the original corporate executives they sought to reform. And Sanjar has learned the hard way that Graham is quite morally gray. Some say Graham suffers from nightmares that leave him sweat-drenched and screaming. I would assume it stems from the friends and family he lost in Amber Heights all those years ago. Sanjar's not actually at fault for his past performance reviews, but he can keep hunting for loopholes to get back on the board for the next century. He'll never be reinstated. Not in his lifetime. For Nebula's sake, even with the loophole I gave him, he's only in charge of MSI because every other exec died during the massacre at Amber Heights. I gave Sanjar and Graham legal information that would allow MSI to own Terra 1 once the other corporations had abandoned the planet. The execs had their concerns, but before the matter could be resolved, pirates raided their homes in the night. Luckily for you, I am a veritable font of information. There are so many members. Do specify. If you try to cite me on this, I will deny. Do you understand? What I am about to reveal is the sort of information that gets a body disappeared. MSI's ownership of Monarch is technically legal, but it would give MSI too much power on the board to grant them such status. That the chairman is politically motivated to keep Monarch from being re-recognized as a legal part of the colony, and his actions as a result are highly illegal. And that is all you will get from me regarding such a deadly piece of data. Luckily for you, I am a veritable font of information. How low you seemingly regard my trade. Sure, you know where to find me if you need me.
making it look easy.
always wanted to poke through a high-gain wireless. They only got one on Terra 2, you know, up in Byzantium.
To be honest, I'm surprised it's still standing. Every time I set foot inside, I half expect the tower to fall over.
Eyes up! Nice hit! Everyone all right?
Hey, Mannequin Slayer! Glad you made it in one piece. After all, not everyone's so lucky. Meet my corporate compliance crew. Then check out our weapons locker inside. I reckon you'll find something you like. Then we call it even between us. We were hired to do so, why else? You did get the memo that we're mercenaries? Our client's a bit unorthodox, sure. He calls himself the broker, and prefers the glow of a terminal to flesh and blood interaction. But I can't fault his work ethic. Our current gig's to stop, by means of lethal force, any creatures exiting the caverns, including but not limited to marauders, iconoclasts, and agents operating for the MSI. The corporate model is the oldest and most efficient, not to mention stable structure history has ever shown us. Plus, corporations got certain rights not entailed to individuals. I lead the C3s. Addie covers our payroll and expenditures, Lance handles the human capital, and Donald is our charming public face. Our system works. We've racked up more confirmed kills than any other crew you can hire. Wow, that was a bit presumptuous, don't you think? We were still debating as to whether we're contractually obligated to take out those marauders. And here, you've undercut us. We have an image to uphold. Our services are deservedly expensive. Now, I shall have to pay you so that future clients continue to recognize the value of our work. We'll just say you were a subcontractor. Yes, that'll do. We exercised our finest judgment in hiring you, you know?
I ought to mention, the Iconoclasts are loyal folk. Treat them right, they'll do the same. Turn on them, they'll open fire without a second thought.
It ain't right. How many good folk we gonna lose to our missions?
That's just the way of it. We gotta earn our keep out
I think we ought to be following her into the jaws of a mantis.
here. You'd rather sit on your thumb?
romantically.
Yeah, we felled it, mind. But we lost 2 runners and 5 gun hands.
A total failure, then. So much for the ruins.
And hell only knows where the Van Oys are. They never showed.
I'm sure they're... let's talk later. It seems we have company.
Hey.
A stranger comes to our home. If you're looking for a path to walk, you've found one. If you're looking for a teacher, I am one. Welcome to the Iconoclasts. Ah, yes. The first step to accepting the truths of philosophism is to open your heart to its wisdom. I've found the written word to be quite effective in helping people do that. But alas, the eternal truth hasn't been generous with the paper and ink. Now, why have you come? Awakening is available to all whose minds are ready to accept it. What would you like to know? Ah, the eternal. We are all part of the consciousness of the cosmos. Each of us plays a tiny role in the universe's continual journey toward understanding itself. You and I, and the rats and the mantis swarms. Divinity is in us all, and the eternal is that divinity. Everyone, regardless of ability to believe, is another facet of the universe contemplating its own existence. The point of no return. When your mind fully opens to the eternal truth, every philosophist experiences it along the path to enlightenment. For many, it is the first brush with the cold of death, when they realize that all of their lives have boiled down into the single truth of that moment. Mine was witnessing my friend and colleague transform into the very evil we sought to combat. Now he runs MSI just like the overlords before him. I suppose that's one way to look at it. Another is that misfortune often brings opportunity. I found my path through the tragedies of my past. Not in the sense of a single entity, fashioning the universe as a whittler fashions a flute. The universe came into being over time, organically, naturally, and without purpose. In that sense, I suppose you could say that, in the interest of finding its purpose, the universe itself created all living things. Questions like these are distractions. It doesn't matter whether an entity sparked the universe or not. Only by pursuing the eternal truth will we find these and other answers. All right. The Iconoclasts are free folk. We live under our rules, motivated by our own beliefs, all petals on the same flower of enlightenment. Meanwhile, the board strangles the will of its workers. It is the penultimate exercise of a poisoned society where people are enslaved by a corporate ladder. We seek to replace their way of life with ours. Philosophism is the key to unlocking their shackles. This is not anarchy. Society requires structure, Captain. It is just that the board's structure is killing the colony. Ours will not. I'm sorry. As long as it's been, I'd still rather not speak of it. That was a painful day for us all. All people are part of the philosophist family. I've come to accept that, along with the additional weight of their deaths. Why have you come? All right. Why have you come? Stop. No. Spreading the truth is the only way to combat the board's poisonous campaign of propaganda against their people. They can't be everywhere at once. Surely there are radios that still catch our message here and there. Surely.
Excuse me. I'm from Edgewater on Terra 2. If you'll pardon my saying, nobody I know's ever heard of you.
All the more reason to double down on our efforts.
Graham, we should be focusing on survival anyway. Food, ammo, and medicine. Maybe now's the time to pivot.
Pivot, huh? If radio isn't working, we might try another way. It seems the captain's timing is more than just serendipitous. It must be fate. I've had my sights on an old printing press for some time. The board uses magazines and advertisements to subtly focus the colony's attention. We will use their tricks against them.
Wait, that's not what I meant.
Help me clear out and repair the press, and I will have no need for that rust bucket of a radio tower. Citizens of Halcyon are glued to their periodicals. They obsess over tossball and fashion, and the board uses these obsessions to control them. Even I find myself occasionally distracted by their positively shameful quality of editing and unacceptable disregard for grammatical structure. My literary prowess will hook them, and the eternal truth will reel them in. Listen to me. I'm starting to sound like one of Sanjar's fishermen. I may have worked in the presses once, but the bitterness of being slave to their abhorrent rules has long since vanished. All right, almost vanished. Can you believe they don't put a comma after the final item in a series? Bastards. Yes, my apologies. Will you help take the printing press? Wonderful. I requisitioned replacement rollers for it some time ago. Huxley should have delivered them yesterday. Speaking of which, where is Huxley?
You bought rollers? You haven't even cleared the wraps out yet. What are you doing wasting bits on... Forget it. Huxley's still recovering. She won't be up for a run for a while yet.
It seems we're out a runner. If you intend to help our cause, I'll ask you to meet our MSI supplier in her stead. One of our sympathizers, a woman named Carlotta, periodically buys goods on our behalf from Stellar Bay's store. Stellar Bay has caught on, but they remain friendly, though the goods now come at a considerable markup. She meets us in the ruins of Bayside Terrace. From our compound, follow the road north.
So you're her mysterious savior. She sings your praises.
That girl and her songs, so eager to learn, so bright-eyed, so tone-deaf. Wonderful. While you're at it, I wonder if Carlotta still has those high-capacity cartridges? Grab a few, will you? There should be some funds left over from the last shipment. We can use them to copy and modify radio serials. Yes, not just magazines, but their precious dramas.
Unbelievable. I hope I don't have to tell you this, but if there is extra money, would you mind buying, I don't know, food and medicine? Graham, if you need me, I'll be in triage.
What was it like in Edgewater? I hear you workers were on the clock every available moment.
We always got 8 hours a day for sleeping. Just not always consecutive.
My condolences. I appreciate consistent wages like any other sane person, but that still sounds awful. At least Sanjar gives his folks weekends.
Weekends?
Hand to the void. I used to drop by the bar in Stellar Bay to knock a few back with the folks who had Saturdays off.
Don't know what I'd have done with that much time. I was always behind schedule anyhow.
Knowing you, you'd sit and be alone with your thoughts.